Before I tell you this story, heed this warning. This one movie theater I went to has no grasp of the laws of physics. Instead of you enjoying yourself watching a movie, it's vice versa. The movie just loves having the audience in itself to get hurt for its own enjoyment. But now this particular movie house has no address on it and can't be tracked by the internet. It looks much like any other promising movie theater, but brings nothing but destruction and murder. I am a very positive person. I'm 23 years of age and have 3 autistic disabilities on the spectrum. Luckily, I'm living in a group home. I must acknowledge, living away from my parents is a wonderful occurrence in my experiences. Alas, I can only see them every weekend or so. But I digress. I wanted to go see a movie with my friend Josh, so I asked my home supervisor if I could go out. I called up Josh, told him we were going to a movie, and we were on our way. Upon arriving at the Northgate Mall, Josh pointed out a theater with a very questionable name. Doom Cinema. Sounds more like a theme park attraction if you ask me. "Can we go?" asked Josh. I was unable to answer, on account of this theater had a very suspicious name. I zoned out for about 10 seconds and replied, Sure. But in my mind, it sounded like, "No way, man, doesn't that sound the slightest bit leery?" Unfortunately, we went in on my account. The movies had some pretty interesting titles. One of them had the name Invaders from Mars. Another had the title Mutant Bees from the Planet Smellitor. "Well, which one do you want to see, Big D?" asked Josh. I choked and sputtered for a second, and said, "I think BU Invaders would be satisfactory." "Alright," said Josh. "Tickets are on me." So he ordered the tickets, the Ticketmaster tore them, we took our seats, the lights dimmed, and the room started to jiggle and jolt. My friend and I remained in the same contour, but the room started to transmogrify. "Let's get out of here!" I bellowed. Josh and I ran for the door. However, it was bolted shut. "I knew we shouldn't have come," I said in a queasy fashion. "What are you talking about?" asked Josh. "The whole thing was your idea." "I regret ever using that imbecilic judgment. We shouldn't be cooped up in here like zoo animals," I added. Right after I finished that sentence, I found myself in an army suit. Josh had disappeared right in front of my eyes. "What the?" I said uneasily as a half-drunk man. Suddenly, an army general appeared in front of me. I found myself in line with at least 100 other soldiers. "Alrighty, men," the general barked, almost giving me a heart attack. "We have only 300 men left, so let's go destroy these invaders!" Question from the crowd? I said without a clue on what this quote-unquote movie was about. "What's your question, soldier?" asked the general. "What's going on? Where am I? I was in the movie theater and I ended up in here," I said loudly and fast. "What's your name, soldier?" barked the general. "Daniel Furman, sir," I said, starting to realize where this movie was going. "Move out, man. Let me take care of this soldier." The other soldiers started running towards the battlefield. The general pulled out a clipboard and looked at a list. After about 30 seconds, he came to notice I wasn't on it. "Follow me, son," the general said quietly. He then led me to a bomb shelter. Upon arrival, I was given a seat. The general turned a light on and started the interrogation. "Now, Daniel, you said you were in a movie theater, right?" the general asked me. "Yes," I said, without even realizing what he knew. "Did you come with a friend?" he asked. "Yes, his name is Josh," I replied. "General Lambert Sandwich, at your service, Mr. Furman," he said with a salute. "Where's my friend?" I said a little uneasily. "We have to find him. "Do you have a gun?" asked Lambert. "Afraid not, General," I replied with a soft voice. "Come with me then," said Lambert, taking me to a room with weapons. I saw one gun that grabbed my attention. Lambert saw my eyes on the weapon and asked, "That one?" "Sure thing," I replied with a firm voice. I took it, and just as I turned around, Lambert was dead and being eaten by a giant bee-like creature with the fangs of a wolf, the legs of a spider, and the quills of a hedgehog. I wasn't afraid though. Since I had a weapon, I used it on that monstrosity. I went up to see if Lambert was okay. I checked his pulse. He died before I could hear anything else from him. I started to cry. I then decided to go search for Josh before the movie was over. I looked at my wristwatch, and it had 30 minutes left until the picture was going to be over. I knew I had to act fast. So I looked around, got myself a uniform, got a better gun, a walkie-talkie, and headed out to the battlefield. I noticed there were a lot of those mutant bee-like creatures around me. I decided I was getting nowhere fast enough, so I took a grenade from a nearby soldier, pulled out the rod, threw it, and charged across to the city, and I found my friend Josh under a box. He had been killed by a mutant bee creature. I noticed the movie had only 5 seconds from being over. I grabbed Josh's putrid corpse and counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, and just as 1 was underway, a bee came up to me and tried to kill me. Luckily, I left the movie just before it could even come up to me, let alone kill me. Josh and I were back in the movie house. I was alive, but I found that he was not. Then I realized the theater is haunted by a spirit that merges the reality of the movie with my reality when it starts. As I exited the theater, it disintegrated to the ground. I found Josh right behind me, still dead, still putrid. I called 911. I explained the whole thing. I even explained that I didn't believe it myself. However, they sent me to a mental hospital. Now I'm going under serious therapy. My sentence is now boot camp. I noticed a laptop computer in the office. I waited for the secretary to be gone for the night and wrote this story. I noticed the wonderful Wi-Fi connection this machine had, so I decided to tell the world about this monstrous movie house. So the next time I go to a theater, I'm checking for paranormal activity. Until then, all I can do is cry in agony.